Hello, everyone. Now, have you ever met someone and started talking to them, and then you realize they just have some amazing life experiences and stories, and you could just listen to them talk all day and pick their brain for hours? Well, that is how I felt when the ex-wife of rock and roll legend Roger McGuinn of the Byrds sat down with me last time she was here. She had some crazy stories from the rock and roll lifestyle in the 60s, and she also was a native right here in Tucson. So I have asked Ianthe McGuinn to come back again to talk to me. And I know we still won't have enough time today because I always feel like you have so many wonderful things to say. The book, though, has all of them, right?
Correct.
I'm sure not all of them, but a lot of great stories. Let's just talk about the 60s in general. How did you kind of feel about that era now that it's gone and past?
You know, it's funny. I always felt that the early 60s were like very innocent times, you know. Once President Kennedy was assassinated, and it seems like the Beatles showed up and sort of took us out of that horrible, you know, depression. And I don't know, it sort of went along, and then suddenly, like in '68, with the assassinations and Vietnam War and all these riots, it really became chaotic and just very tragic, I think. But it got us, you know, I think the music pulled us through.
And just within that decade, you know, so much up and down in there. And you did mention the Beatles kind of pulling, you know, everyone out of a certain feeling. Did you have any interactions with the Beatles?
Yes.
Oh.
We met them when they went to the Bowl in '65, and they were staying at one of the Gabor sisters' house. I think it was in Benedict Canyon.
What was your impression of them?
Oh, they were just incredible. They were so spontaneous, and you know, I think Lennon was very witty, you know, and of course, who was it? Ringo. He was very spontaneous too. But they were all just great. We stayed and visited with Harrison Ford, not Harrison Ford, what am I talking about? George Harrison.
George Harrison, yes.
For quite a while.
That's so crazy. I'm sure just like your travels with Roger and the music and the times and everything, you ran into so many people. And speaking of Harrison Ford, I know we're intertwining the two, but you actually met Harrison Ford also.
I know, I guess I had him on my mind.
You've met so many celebrities. I get it, girls. What was your interaction with Harrison Ford?
Well, we were remodeling our kitchen. And Peter Fonda knew an out-of-work actor and said, you know, he's been doing carpentry to, you know, raise money. And so he did. He came to the house, worked on the kitchen. Our kitchen was in the garage, and everything was upside down. And Roger kept saying, I'm a Cancer. I can't take this.
All the chaoticness.
Right.
So wait, so you're telling me that Harrison Ford came and worked on your kitchen?
Right.
As an out-of-work actor.
Correct.
That's so interesting. It's such interesting to see where times have taken everyone. And I know this is one of my favorite stories also from the book, is you talk about an interaction with Marlon Brando. Can we talk about that? Because it's one of my favorite stories from the book.
Oh, really? Well, actually, we had seen Marlon Brando at a big party that they had thrown for Bob Dylan. And he was a little tipsy, you know, and we sort of crossed paths, and he said, he was walking by with this girl, and he said, wait a minute, that's a girl of my dreams. And I'm like, oh my God, you know?
Wait, he was smitten with you?
Yes. And then we met again at this party that Wally Cox had, and he and Wally Cox were friends. And he asked me, you know, we spent a lot of time talking together, and he asked me if I wouldn't go with him, but I'd come with Roger, and I said no, you know.
So you stuck with Roger?
Correct.
You're so modest. Marlon Brando and Roger McGuinn were fighting over you. Let's just put it out there. And so your life could have been maybe completely different.
I know.
Either way, though, those are some pretty big names. I love that you're telling stories and throwing names around like Bob Dylan. You know, we were at Bob's house. That's so interesting. And your book is full of kind of these interactions, right?
Right. Yes, but there are other things too.
There are other things in there, and I did mention at the beginning you are a native to Tucson, so I love that you have a local tie to us. And we had talked about last time you're a part of the pictures that are up in downtown.
Right, Steve Farley.
Yes, you have such a great roots here, and you're here now.
Mm-hmm. I'm working still as a nurse.
And you're a nurse now. What a kind of a crazy whirlwind. And I know, and maybe this is just a guess, I would assume, is the music from the Byrds, is that kind of like a little bit of the soundtrack to your life a little bit?
Well, it's really interesting because when they came out, the press said, oh, they're like America's answer to the British invasion, you know. But they were really constantly innovating. Each album they had something new, you know. I don't know if you are familiar with one of them, which is Sweetheart of the Rodeo. It really transformed music because they took country, they went on a country genre. And it really changed the music of that time.
Well, before I actually let you go, can you kind of tell everybody some really exciting news about the book and a list that it just landed on real quick?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Shindig, which is a magazine from the UK, listed it as number 7 in the top 10 of 2017 books.
Congratulations. That's a huge accomplishment. And so this is a great thing if someone wants something maybe for a gift for someone that loved the music or wants to hear about these wonderful stories. I'm going to tell them how to get their hands on it.
Oh, great.
Thank you for coming back.
Thank you for having me.
We'll have you back again. We'll talk more. All right, guys. In the Wings, My Life with Roger McGuinn and the Byrds is available now. You can find it on Amazon, and to learn more, visit newhavenpublishingltd.com.